Of this show, bite-sized tips for busy entrepreneurs. You scroll through Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, or even LinkedIn, scrolling post after post after post, maybe giving it a thumbs up, maybe giving it a heart, but you're never sharing any content or engaging. And then you stop on a video and you watch the video and you decide this is share worthy. So you're going to share it to your network. You feel so compelled that you have to share it. But why this video or why this piece of content? What makes us stop and share content on social media? Are we only trying to make ourselves look good when we share something? Makes you think, right? Or is there more psychology behind what we share and when we share it? Hi, everyone. I'm Mary Thane Brandt, CEO and host of this show, Bite-Sized Tips for Busy Entrepreneurs, where I bring on savvy business owners who are experts in their industry to help you grow and scale your business with ease. Today, I've got a great guest, Dan Peterson from Flip Switch Social Media. Okay, I love that name, Dan. I want to know how you came up with it. Because in my mind, okay, the psychology, right? I'm like, oh, I'm going to flip the switch to my social media. He's going to help us understand the psychology behind our social media strategy and how users, the psychology when we're on social media, what makes us stop and share content versus just scrolling. Dan Peterson is a social media marketing and sales trainer with over 20 years of experience. Man, he knows his stuff inside out and backwards. In 2012, he founded Flip Switch Social Media, an award-winning social media agency that helps small and mid-sized businesses grow their businesses using the power of social media. I also read his bio, and he's a rock star and a girl dad. So we're definitely going to talk about that for a minute. So you know how this show goes. We are going to share 3 tips in about 30 minutes. So grab your coffee, your juice, your water, whatever it is, in whatever time zone you're in, sit down, grab some paper and pen or your laptop because you're going to want to take some notes. But before we get started, I got to give a big shout out to StreamYard. That's what we're using to go live on multiple platforms. So right now we're live on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Makes it so easy to stream, you guys, and you can brand. So if you like the look and feel of this show and you want to start streaming or level up your stream game, let me know. I'm going to drop my affiliate link because literally you hit the button that says go live and then end broadcast. It's that easy. So if you're looking to stream, watch for that to be dropped in the comments. But you know what? Let's get Dan up on stage. Hey, Dan. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh, fabulous. I love it when technology works, right?
Right.
Cool. Because you just never know. So we've got some comments already. Bez is here. My buddy Bez. Hey, Bez. Jennifer, JJ's here. Bez says he's excited to hear all the strategies. We've got Michelle in the house. And is it Gel or Gelé? I'm not sure how I pronounce that. So go ahead and tell me how to pronounce your name. Patrice. Hey, Dan, you must know Patrice.
I do know Patrice very well.
She says that you are a rock star. I read that in your little bio. So Dan, you know, I can talk about what I read about you in your bio and what, you know, how I know you, which is through our friend Brittany. But I would love for you to tell the audience, you know, how did you get started and the psychology part? Like, what made you dive into the psychology of social media?
Well, so I started Flip Switch out of necessity, really. I come from a small business background. My family, if you've watched anything or heard anything I've ever talked about, I talk a lot about this because it was the impetus for Flip Switch. But my family owned a lot of businesses when I was younger and growing up, including a Ben Franklin store, which was kind of a precursor to Walmart as far as people being able to go out and buy lots of different things, like a variety store, lots of things in one location. So before Walmart really made it big, Ben Franklin was a big thing in small towns, especially. So I come from a town of 4,500 people. I grew up in that small business environment, and as I got older and then, you know, managed and worked in retail and restaurants and different things growing up. By the time I got into my 30s, I thought, you know what, there's a big need for web design and social media for small businesses. And so I started Flip Switch as a web design company originally, trying to do really high quality work at a really low price. But it's a very difficult business for cash flow purposes. And I saw the writing on the wall that social media was going to be what it was. So that's what we did. We pivoted. We went pretty much 100% social media. And that's what we do now. We handle all the social media marketing for small businesses coast to coast. So
I love it. I love it. And so we have a mutual friend, Brittany. And you were on her podcast. You guys do the podcast, and you guys have your own clubhouse showroom, whatever you call it over there. I'm not very active over there, but
sure.
You know, it was the psychology of social media, and I was like, oh, snap! Like we all need to better understand instead of just posting content and spending money on schedulers and graphics, right? And our time. We really need to think about the psychology of social media and implement that and create a strategy, right?
Yeah. And that's what started this was, you know, there's all these tips, all these tricks out there. People talk all the time on all the platforms about how to do this on Instagram, how to do this on LinkedIn. And that is great. I've done it myself. I still do a lot of it. But I wanted to do something different, especially for Clubhouse. And I talked to Brittany and said, hey, what do you think about psychology? Let's talk about the why behind the what. What makes people stop scrolling? What makes people take action? And let's put together some of these points. So that's what I did. And there are about 30 points, but obviously we're only going over a handful today. So
yeah. And we did have a couple questions that came in through the LinkedIn chat. So I thought that maybe we would start with one or two of these questions, and then you can go over your points, and maybe they're going to tie together.
Sure.
So would that be cool? All right.
Sounds good.
So the first question was, how much, if at all, do the algorithms play into the psychology of people's actions on social media? Now, when we use the word algorithm, in my mind, I'm like, well, snap, it changes weekly, monthly. You know, I'm in a LinkedIn mastermind group and we tested the algorithm this last month. So can you answer this question? Does it play a role?
So here's the funny thing about the algorithm. No matter what they do, no matter how they change it and whatever they do, it still has some base points that every platform is structured around. Every platform's algorithm is structured around. That being, it's going to show more of what you like and engage with to you as a user. So businesses have to kind of reverse engineer their entire campaign of what they're trying to promote and figure out, okay, what is my end user wanting? What am I trying to sell and what do they want? What are they going to engage with? And then reverse engineer it from there to appease them, because if they like it, share it, comment on it, then the algorithm says, okay, Joe Smith really likes this content that FlipSwitch just put out. Let's show more of that to Joe Smith. So the psychology plays into it, interestingly enough, in two ways. It's not just how the business owner creates the post, but also how the end user is relating and reacting to that post that's going to ultimately determine what the algorithm shows or doesn't show. So it's hit or miss. And that's why we're talking about this today, is hopefully to have more hits than misses and get a way for business owners to be able to utilize some of these tips.
We definitely want more hits than misses. So I know that on LinkedIn, one of the algorithm rules that LinkedIn like pushes out is that engagement at the, you know, so LinkedIn only shows your content on average to 10% of your network. Most people don't know that. So only 10% of your network is going to see your content. However, in that first, I don't know, hour or so, when you get more engagement right at the beginning, then LinkedIn says, oh, this must be valuable content. People are commenting, people are sharing. Let's show it to more people. So I don't know how that plays out, like in the psychology, like how do we get people to engage right up front? I don't know if you can speak to that, but I'd love more tips. I mean, besides, it's got to be valuable content, right?
Right. That's a key thing. And it's not just 10% on LinkedIn. It's pretty much anywhere between 3 and 12% on all platforms, depending on what you're trying to do and depending on what industry you're in too. And that's what people need to realize, is you really have to take an inventory of what your business is about. And again, reverse engineer everything to try to target the people that you're trying to target. So for example, if you're a restaurant, your strategy is going to be totally different than that of an insurance agent or that of a roofing company, or, you know, somebody that has a long sales cycle, one time in a lifetime type purchase, like a roof or something like that. It's different for different types of industries. So again, if you're a restaurant, you can post that picture of that cheeseburger, and that same day somebody's going to come in and say, hey, I saw this on Facebook or Instagram and I'm going to buy it. So your content has to shift.
Okay, that burger thing, years ago in San Diego, it was the Burger Lounge had opened and it was new and it was on the news, and I saw a picture of the burger and I literally told my boyfriend at the time, I'm like, I want that burger. And he's like, what? I'm like, we're leaving right now it was probably 2 miles down the street. It literally, like, it was also like dinner time. So timing matters, right?
Right.
So I was like, I want that burger now.
They did their job. Whatever they did, it worked. They sold the burger.
So we had another question that came in that said, do the old rules of sales apply to this new digital landscape?
Yes and no. So the old rule of 7, takes 7 touches to get somebody to buy from you. That's kind of that old strategy. There is some truth to that, I think, depending on the industry, but it's more about brand recognition and building trust and building community and really making sure that your brand is above your competitors in not just the real world from product service, customer service, and all that, but also on a digital landscape where you're trying to make sure that you build trust. And, you know, these are some of the points that I had lined up for today's discussion. In fact, the first one is demonstrate authority. So you want, as a business, to show that you are the subject matter expert in your field, that you know what you're talking about. You know, obviously, you know this, Mary, LinkedIn is huge for that. It's all about showcasing that you're a subject matter expert in your industry, just like you are with LinkedIn. It's a perfect example of it. But as consumers, we all think of as business owners, we have to think as consumers. We have to think about what our customers are going to think. So, for example, if you're looking for a interior designer for your home and you compare two interior designers on social media, you're looking at their projects, you're looking at their pictures of what they've done in other homes, and you like both of them, but one of them really goes into detail about the why behind the what. Why do you have lighting in this area, and why are the couches and the tables put in this
more substance, right?
Right.
It showcases that they are the expert. So when you said interior designer, I had a client that was she did remodels. So remodels for kitchen and bath, very specific. But she also provided tips of how to make a small bathroom appear larger. Like those little tips and tricks. So I think when you're sharing not just the pictures, but like when you're the substance behind why you choose the colors, what's going to last 10 years. Because, when you're talking interior design and remodels, things change. I think it's every 5 years something goes out. Like, wood used to be a thing. Now wood's back. I was like, man, I want that white and gray kitchen. Well, the white and gray kitchen I want is now on its way out. Right. So she's sharing that information that'll help you make a better decision. And I think that can be applied in any business. Are you sharing information that not only positions yourself as an expert, but it helps your consumer, right? Your audience make a better decision.
That's it. Yeah. It's demonstrating authority. I put it as the number one tip for our session today, because it's that important, because everything else kind of flows with that. If you're showing that you're the expert in your field, then everything else after that, people are going to trust you and they're going to potentially buy from you or engage with you. But if you come off as an idiot or looking like you don't know anything about anything, or even if you're just sharing photos, but you don't dig in and show substance behind that, it's not doing you any justice. So it's really a good idea to educate people and let them know. At the
end of the day, the photos are nice, but what's the story behind them? What's the substance behind them? I stories. Like, I learn stories are so engaging. So you can have a great photo of a restaurant, but okay, there's thousands of restaurants, where you live. So what's the story behind this restaurant? Why were you there? What, drew you in?
Exactly.
Was it the meal? Was it, the Bloody Mary bar? I was looking for the best Bloody Mary bar in San Diego on Sunday. So we were looking at pictures, but then I was reading, the content and the reviews. So
yeah, which is another tip.
Okay, well, let's go into your tips, because those were the two questions we had before, but let's keep diving in. Everyone's sitting here, they're listening on Facebook and LinkedIn, and so let's do it.
All right. Well, so number one, we just talked about demonstrating authority, show that you're the subject matter expert. The second method, and again, there's a ton of these, so I just hand selected a few of them to talk about today, but the second one is showing likability. And I love this one because it plays on multiple areas of psychology with social media, Instagram, Facebook, and all that. Obviously, Instagram is kind of the platform right now for most businesses. It's really showing, they're really changing and becoming more of a video platform, as they just came out and said recently. So showing not just physical attractiveness, which is important, being attractive in your the way you dress or the way you look and not looking sloppy, things like that, but also similarities and associations with your customers. People want to be able to relate to people that they or purchase from people that they can relate to, and engage with people that they relate to. We all do it on a day-to-day basis in our everyday lives, whether we realize it or not. So it's not just your product or service. It's you. You are the face behind your business, and especially at a small business level. With our clients, we really encourage either the business owner or somebody close to the business owner that's going to be there long term and not quit the next day, to be a face of the business on social. At a small business level, it's really important. Coca-Cola, we all know what they sell and do. They're huge. Small businesses need to have that, that hyper-local face of the business. And people want to connect and engage with brands that have that personal touch with them and that likability factor. So as a tip for anybody watching this, reassess your business, look at what you're doing, and say, am I likable? Would I buy from me? Would I engage with me if I stumbled across my page or was targeted through ads or whatever.
So our friend Brittany is super likable and relatable. And I always say H to H, that human to human factor. And so I've been following her for quite some time now. And then we recently, had a phone call. We're taking the relationship to that next level. I've been following her. I really like her stuff because it's relatable. So it's fun. So for me, brands that are fun and relatable and keep it real are something that I'm attracted to. But then it has to have that substance.
Right.
Otherwise I'm the scroller. Nice picture, nice video. It's just fun. But there's some content that, like, the video or the photo draws me in, but there's substance that makes me want to engage or share.
Yes. What makes you stop scrolling? What is it that pops? Because there are a million people out there doing this. So what is something that, like Brittany, for example,
because she's on a Peloton.
I know, she's dancing on a Peloton.
She's on a Peloton or she's drinking wine. And most people would not do that. Like, she's in her gym clothes. I'm like, you go, girl. She just keeps it so relatable. And I'm like, I try to be relatable, and I feel that I am. Bez, am I relatable? Bez knows me on different levels. Professional. He was a speaker in my master class. But I always say, be the same person you are online that you are offline. Because when a client goes to meet you either on Zoom or in person, if that happens again one day in 2023, then you know what? You have to be the same person, because otherwise when you meet someone, they're going to be like, who is that? Like, I wear bright colors. I talk with my hands, right? I'm very energetic. If you see me online like this, and then you go and meet me and I'm very quiet, right? We have a phone call and I don't have much to say. You'd be going, who the hell is that other person online?
Yep. Yeah, it's very important to be real, especially in a world full of just absolute fakeness on social media. Everything's just a highlight reel from everybody. So if you can be real, and that is who you are, again, like Brittany, she's created a brand around it, and it's beautiful and it works great for her. So yeah, subject matter expert and likability are 1 and 2 on my list today, and for good reason. Moving on, if that's okay, to number 3. Because this ties in well too, is using social proof. So we all know about testimonials and reviews and whatnot, but taking it to the next level and using video testimonials and getting people to actually go on camera and talk about your brand is huge. Also, influencer marketing, of course. We talk about this all the time. A lot of people are, I think, small businesses, we don't think that we can use influencer marketing as, the bigger brands do, where they get some model or some person and they pay them a ton of money to come on and showcase their product. But small businesses have probably a easier time finding influencers than the big brands, because the big brands have this whole thing they have to do to make sure that they stay, in the public limelight the right way and do it the right way, because they've got big offices to fill and all, like, it's a big brand. Small businesses do not have that big of an issue with that. Their issue is making sure that their influencer is hyper local and able to help their business on that hyper local small business level. So here in Chicagoland, we've done a lot of campaigns with a lot of different businesses where we've found local influencers that are able to, that maybe they have 1,000 followers or 800 followers or 10,000 followers in some cases, but for a small amount of money, maybe $100 or even some free food and maybe a gift card or something for a restaurant, they will come in and they will take pictures with maybe dinner or whatever. It doesn't have to be a restaurant. It could be anything. They come in and they do what they do as influencers, and they share that out, and their followers of thousands or whoever see that for a very low amount of money. So this is something that small businesses are really missing the boat on.
And so I didn't realize that, but I had a company approach me years ago when I was in San Diego, and I got free food for taking pictures and posting it on social media.
There you go. Yeah.
So Flossie Hall from Healthy Mama, like, I loved her food. I loved her. We had met and established, a relationship, women-owned businesses helping each other. And she's like, Mary, you have a large audience and you have a great social media presence. So I will give you a weekly delivery and you I'll give you
There you
food.
go.
Will you just post it and do videos on social media? And I was like, yeah, because it's something I believe in. So yeah, you're right. You don't have to be a big brand to use influencers. So we have a question from
Sure.
Bez. How do you find local influencers? That's a great question, Bez. How do we find local influencers?
So it's a lot of work. Sometimes it doesn't always have to be. It depends on how dialed into your local community you are and how far of a radius you're trying to target. So we do this for our clients because it's so time intensive that they would never, whatever. And then we put them on a list, the influencers, and we can use them again if we need them. So we kind of build out a list of people that are perfect for certain industries. But doing it for yourself, the best way to do it is to go you're going to hear this a lot from me, reverse engineer it. So think about who you're trying to sell to and who you're trying to engage with. What is your target demographic? Who are you trying to reach? Now find people that are in that same demographic. If you're trying to target moms of kids that are 10 years old, then go to the local soccer pages, look through people on there that have a good following, like let's say on Instagram, and then DM them, message them on Instagram, say, hey, I noticed that you have 1,200 followers. And by the way, you've already looked through their followers to make sure that the followers are also who you want. Let me put that in there too. So you found the person, you know that their followers are other local moms because this person's part of a mom's group or dad's group or whatever. And you go in, you DM them and say, hey, I saw that you have 1,200 followers. A lot of them are the types of people that buy from us. And I'd be interested in giving you XYZ in trade for a weekly post or whatever your deal is, showing that you use our product or service, or doing a testimonial video or any other creative way you want to do it. But that's what we do. We reverse engineer it. We find people that are in the subsect of demographic that we're looking to target, that our client is looking to target. And then we reach out to a whole bunch of people and find 2 or 3 that want to do it.
I love that tip. I'm sitting here thinking right now in my head how I can reverse engineer that on LinkedIn, like, find those influencers. So that is an amazing tip. We are definitely going to take that out and make that micro content and share that out after the show.
Love
So,
it.
yeah, I love that. So I'd love to know, you guys, we have a diverse audience today. What's your favorite platform? Is it TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn? And don't worry, you don't have to say LinkedIn just because that's my platform. I believe all platforms serve a purpose. I don't believe that you can be actively, successfully engaged on all platforms. I believe as a small business owner, right, to pick like 2 platforms. LinkedIn is obviously one of them. So anyone who's watching this just starting off, and this was me when I started in 2014, I would get up every day and be like, oh my God, I got to post on Twitter. I got to post on Facebook. I got to post on Instagram. I got to post on LinkedIn. And I did that for like probably 6 months, and I was driving myself crazy. And then I learned like, oh, I don't need to do that. So Beth says, wow, love your tip to reverse engineer your subset demographic. Yeah, that's a great tip, huh, Beth? I love it. Well, do you have any last minute thoughts for us before we begin to wrap up?
I do. So I had prepared 6 tips. So I know that we're on 3. So I will make these super fast. And then if anybody wants more info, they can reach out to you or me and we can, fill them in on a more customized level. But you do hear me talk about reverse engineering a lot, and that's because it plays into everything you do. But tip number 4 that I had was using the fresh start effect. We're coming up to New Year's now in a few months. The fresh start effect basically says that anything that you want to promote, if you can find a twist to make it something new, or even in your copy that you're writing, if starting off the week doing this, or somehow declaring a new season, whatever that means. It doesn't have to be a literal season, but a new season for your business. And also using events. People forget about this. Events like birthdays, maybe the owner's birthday, maybe one of your employees' birthdays, personal or business anniversaries. What else do I have here? Holidays, like New Year's Eve, obviously, we just talked about. And then the idea of newness, psychologically, there's studies that show that talking about newness or giving people the feeling that they're starting with a blank slate drives purchase behavior. So purchase, engagement, all of the stuff that we're trying to do through social media, people like to be a part of something fresh and new. And that is something that we talk about a lot. Pairing up with that is the just imagine technique. So we talk about, we tell our clients when they're posting, or if we're doing it for them, to show how the product is going to benefit people through video or storytelling means. So just imagine how this is going to benefit you. Don't just sell it. Talk about the why behind the what makes people buy it, and use this. It's a great way to pair it up with testimonials. Imagine you being like the person giving the testimonial. You know, Mary used our product. She's loving it. Now, how can you use it and love it? So utilize things like that when you're posting to get people to want to buy, because everybody wants to do what everybody else is doing. It's one of the great downfalls probably of society, but it is what it is. Right. And last but not least that I had is the Prattfall Effect. This is one of my favorite ones, actually. So the Prattfall Effect says that you should take advantage of being the underdog rather than always try to be the front runner and be correct. So how this plays into social media is we all make mistakes. Brands make mistakes. There's product errors. There's service issues. We all do it. So take ownership of it and use that as a way to show your followers that you're serious about what you do. What's that?
That you're human.
Yeah, you're human.
Just like them.
That's right.
We all make mistakes. No one is perfect.
Yeah, and use those errors and showcase the errors. Say, you know what, we screwed up. We own it. This is how we're making it right, and twist it, spin it, and use it as a positive to show people that you do care about your customers and that you take it seriously and that you're going to make it better and that your customer service is on point. And it could be for anything from a mistake to being out of something, you know, low stock, especially right now with all the stuff that's going on with shipping and, you know, shortages. This is going to be the time.
The 40 tankers sitting up in the water in Long Beach.
Right. Yeah, it's crazy. And that's going to be a lot coming up this holiday season. Now we're going into the fourth quarter. We're in the fourth quarter. It's going to be a big problem for anybody that has a tangible product that they're selling online. You're probably going to have shortages or some kind of issue. So just own it. And everybody knows what's going on in this case anyway, but don't hide behind things and use it for your benefit, actually.
I love it, man. I am seriously taking notes, and I'm going to go back and I'm going to watch this show again, because there's so many golden nuggets, and it's not stuff that we can't do. It's not going to cost us a lot. I mean, like, there's psychological tips, like just think about, you know, reverse engineer. I love that. Start looking for those influencers. I love that tip, the local influencers. So I love all these tips. We could probably sit here and chat for a couple hours, but I promise to keep my show like 35 minutes is usually what it was. Bez said, what was tip number 1? Well, Bez, we had a lot of them. I think your first tip was demonstrate authority.
Correct.
Right? Yeah. Very first one was demonstrating authority. So maybe what we'll do, Dan, is you can shoot me over your list of, you know, the 6 things, and I can put those in. I'll make sure that we put those on all the social media platforms so people have that. Now, Dan, where can people reach you, connect with you? How do you want people to find you? So we're everywhere at Flip Switch Social Media. It's that simple. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram. We're starting TikTok and trying to build out stuff. We are the brand we're the shoemaker whose kids have no shoes, basically. So we've been working with people for 10 years, with clients for 10 years. Coming up this April, next year, it'll be a decade. That's hard to believe. And congratulations. Well, thank you very much. So we've done fabulous work for thousands and thousands of companies, but we always shortchanged ourselves. So the start of this past year was me saying to my company, hey, we've really got to start doing better with our own social media. So we did. It's like that car mechanic works on everyone else's car, and their car is sitting in the driveway that needs repairs. Yes. Because at the end of the day, they're tired of working on cars, right? Yeah. That's really the analogy. We put all our effort into our clients. What can I say? We just never focused on ourselves. Hey, so before we wrap up, I have 2 things. The first one is, are you ready to play this or that? This or that is how I wrap up each show, where we get to know our guests a little more on the personal side. Awesome. Dan, don't worry, I'm not going to embarrass you, but I am going to give you 2 words and you have to pick one. Do you want this or that? And
All
you
right.
really don't get to put a third word in there.
Fair
People
enough.
try to say, well, can I choose? Okay, so here we go. This is our rapid fire this or that. Flip-flops or boots?
Flip-flops.
Pizza or tacos?
Tacos.
Country or rock and roll?
Rock and roll.
Beach or mountains?
Beach. All day.
Baseball or football?
Baseball.
Would you rather go to the movies or have a nap?
Probably a nap. I've never really liked movie theaters that much.
Yeah. Mini golf or real golf?
Oh, that's tough because I have kids.
I know.
I really do have to say in this case, if it's just me, I love golfing. But
it's just about you. Just about you.
So. I guess golf if it's just me. If my kids are coming with, then mini golf. But if it's just me, golf.
Laptop or desktop?
Laptop.
Podcast or video?
That's an interesting question.
Would you rather be on a podcast or would you rather
video
have a
podcast?
Okay,
like
well,
this.
I'll let
this is great.
Slide. Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Yeah.
All day.
Cat or dog?
Dog.
Wine or whiskey?
Wine.
Oh, interesting.
Goes with meals better than
I'm
whiskey.
more of a whiskey girl.
Are you?
Yeah, I love wine. Don't get me wrong. Wine, gin, all of that. But like, I like a sipping whiskey.
There you go.
Don't mix up my whiskey with any Coke or anything. I drink good whiskey. At my age, I've earned the right to drink good, expensive whiskey that you just sip on. Same thing with my gin and my rum. I don't mix it. I'm not.
No college days anymore.
No college days. Cut out the sugars. Well, Dan, you know what? Thank you so much for your time. This has been amazing. So many comments over here. We're going to drop the 6 tips in. And finally, you guys, hey, if you're ready to get known and get found, get clients, get a job, but your LinkedIn profile is looking a little shabby, I take you from boring to badass. We can do this in 2 ways. My new service is being a VIP intensive client where I work with you for 4 hours. We get your profile literally from boring to badass. You're going to have a new background banner. We are going to transform you so people find you, whether it's clients or recruiters. So if this is something you're interested in, I'm going to drop a link over in the comments and you can learn more about my VIP intensive. I know this sounds wonky, but you guys, I'm literally booked up this month. I have like 4 slots open in November, and then December is usually my slower month. So if you want to start the new year rocking, kicking some butt, let's talk. Let's get you all dusted, done and dusted, as we say in my world. Shelly's Mobile Notary said, love these tips. Dan, you've been an amazing guest. I know that we could just sit here and talk forever. So you guys, this has been fun. I'm Mary Thane Brandt. And this is Bite-Sized Tips for Busy Entrepreneurs. And don't forget, tonight's Wednesday. So at 5 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, I've got 15 minutes of Fane. I'm the Fane, and we're going to be talking about LinkedIn with Vivica Hess. So join me tonight for a LinkedIn tip. Okay, take care.